Welcome to Shorty Supercoach, and today we're going to discuss the most important line of your side, and that is the midfield. Now, why is it the most important line? It can generate the most points, and if you have a dud pick, it'll cost you the most as well. Now, we have a lot of players to pick there in the midfield. Obviously, they updated it a couple of years back, I think it was, to have 8 starters and 3 on the bench. So it makes it that much more important to nail your midfield. Now, obviously, in the forward line and the back line, we look to get guys who can average 3 figures. That's sort of the pass mark. You know, you might want your later in the season guys, your F5, F6, maybe high 90s might do you. But certainly your top end 3 figures will do us. Definitely in the midfield, we want 110 plus. You got to be greedy, and rightfully greedy. There's certainly plenty of players out there that can average big numbers, and I think if you can cash in and pick the right ones, then you can absolutely dominate and get off to a flying start. So often we go through the pre-season trying to uncover gems or the next rookie that'll make the most money. We spend so much time on which draft you will score well, who will play the most games. Probably of an aspect we don't focus on as much, and I think it's just as important, is nailing your premiums. I think we don't focus on it as much because the lines are blurred a little bit. You know, you pick your premium, he averages 106, yeah, that's alright. But you might have missed out on the guy who averaged 112. Now, that's only 6 points. You know, you look at it statistically, you look at your team, it doesn't seem like an enormous difference. But at the end of the day, you're losing 6 points each week. Could be captaincy points over the course of a season. If you made a couple of wrong moves in your midfield, all of a sudden you're losing double-figure points each week. And we know how tight those rankings are, especially if you get up to the top. So nailing your premiums in the midfield are so important, and I can't stress it enough. And it is difficult because, as I said, in the back line and the forward line, we have less options, which makes it a little difficult, but it does, I guess, make it easier to identify which ones we are selecting from in premium status. There's probably not as many that are really putting their hand up. Where in the midfield, there's a stack of options, which makes it difficult. You know, will he average 118? Will he average 111? Both great averages, but as I said, it can really come down to that nitty-gritty 5 to 10 points per game that can put you above your mate or put you 1,000 spots ahead over the course of a month or so. So I just think it's super important that we do nail those off the top. That's the main thing to discuss. Obviously, go with your proven performers. That's key. You know, you can check out my Geelong preview as to why I'm not picking Dangerfield, but I'm certainly not going to condemn you if you do pick him. Understandable. Your Pendleburys, your Sydney trio of Hanbury, Parker, Kennedy, they won't let you down too often. Your Nat Fyfes and things like that. Certainly in the midfield, I think everyone will starting with Fyfe and Beams. They're pretty obvious picks. Now, I'm not going to pick your side here for you. It does come down to your gut feel and your own opinions, but I will discuss structure. I think that's hugely important with our midfield. And as I said off the top, you can get the most points from your midfield, so why don't maximise that? Why not do that? I'll be starting with 6 premiums. Now, that's probably your top end. Some people dabble with 7, which is pretty bold, but I feel like 6 is a good number. In previous years, I have sometimes done 5 and gone with a mid-pricer. Some people will do that as well. I personally am just going foolproof, 6 premiums, rounded out with rookies. Of course, we don't really know which rookie is going to play and feature at this time of year, but I'm backing in that we'll have plenty through the midfield. There's always stacks of options. There's always some late mail that come through, and we do tend to get options when those round 1 teams come round. So I'm pretty confident there'll be plenty of options through the midfield. I'll be going with the 6 premiums. That's what I'll be doing at this stage, unless one of those mid-price options were to just make themselves irresistible. The reason I do this is because I don't want to muck around. I think if you can get off to a flying start, that's by getting 140s, 150s, doubling up with a good captain, and I think that's done by going big in the midfield. Obviously not too big. You know, some people have talked about going, well, if we're going with that, why not just load up and go 7? Why not go 8 if you know what's going to be the main men in the midfield? I think it's always good to have a couple of options to get a guy as he drops in price, or it's always hard to pick the absolute cream of the crop. Even in our midfield, which is a bit more obvious, there's always a guy who comes out of nowhere. So it's good to leave a couple of positions for things like that. And also, your best rookies tend to be midfielders as well. So it's always good to have 5 positions available to really make you the most coin. So that'll be my reasoning. Now, a lot of people will be going with a mid-price option. O'Meara and Swallow seem to be the ones really putting their hand up, and I can understand why, particularly Swallow. By all reports, he's training well, where O'Meara is still really battling to be right for round 1. Now, my theory on the mid-price, if I haven't already made that clear, is I just think the midfield is no place to be dabbling in a mid-price option. I've done it in the past. It has sometimes worked, it sometimes hasn't. But I just feel even when it does work, it's probably not really worth it. I'm all about being efficient with trading, and I just feel when you go a mid-price option in one of your other lines, let's take Hamish Hartlett for example. If I were to pick him, you're picking him on the proviso that he's mid-price option, but he's realistically a chance to burst his way into a keeper status. I think that's the best option as a mid-pricer. Now, someone like Swallow, he definitely is a good mid-pricer. Will he make you coin? Absolutely. Will he break into being a keeper? No. Straight up he won't. He's not going to average 105 plus. He'll probably more likely float anywhere from 80 to maybe low 90s if he really gets going. Who knows? He may even push 95 if he were to hit the ground running. But I just think we're inevitably going to trade them. And I think even someone like Mark Murphy, 432, somewhat proven, I'm probably going to steer clear of him because I don't think he's going to break into the elite bracket. Now, say maybe go to your forward line. You've got Isaac Heaney or someone like that. I think the risk is obviously that they don't absolutely go bang, but the reward could be that they do become a keeper, and then all of a sudden you've saved yourself a trade. You've got a guy who's mid-price-ish, turns into a guy that you don't even have to move for the rest of the season. I think that's the definition of a successful mid-pricer. Someone that does well, makes us money, so if they were to get injured or we desperately need cash, we can use them for that. But ideally, we keep them and they're not a worry. You know, we're not looking to trade them out after 6 weeks. So I just think I'm going to go plain and simple in the midfield. That's where the guns are. That's where your proven performers are. That's where the majority of your 150s are going to come from. Your big scores. I'll try and pick fellas who are in form on the peak of their careers, heading into their prime or thoroughly in their prime of their careers, and hopefully they can explode and have career best seasons, or at least in the top couple. So that'll be how I'm going. I think the mid-price option is definitely that curveball. Obviously, some people will like to go with it. Some people quite like to go a mid-price option in their midfield because they can average around the 90 mark, which is sometimes maybe better than other mid-prices in other lines, where I guess I look at it as though you're going to probably have to trade them anyway. So why not just bank on a guy who could be just scoring you 110 points a game rather than, you know, slowly making money, getting 85s and things like that. I'm going to go plain and simple through my midfield, bank on proven performers, absolute jets of the competition, and hopefully they can get me off to a flying start, because from a personal view, I've often had slower starts to the season and worked my way back with good trading. So I guess I'm going to try and get myself amongst that top 1,000 early in the piece, and hopefully this can point me in the right direction. So we'll see how we go. That's my midfield strategy, and we all know the names that you need to look for. Bit more of a structure talk video today, but by all means let me know how you're going. If you think I'm wrong, if you think you got to get on Swallow and maybe O'Meara, if you think I'm crazy for missing the boat, let me know. If you think I'm crazy for not going with Dangerfield, certainly let me know as well. But by all means, leave a comment. Good to get a bit of interaction and debate as we work our way into pre-season. Comment on the video, like the video, and of course, give the channel a subscribe, which is always fantastic. I'll be going through each line, discussing a few players, mainly structure. If there's anything that stands out from each line that I think's worth noting, I'll outline that. And of course, we'll take a look at the ruck very shortly, and I'll catch you soon.